So with episode 4 of Classroom of the Elite, I'm really interested in seeing what people are going to say with the episode, as for myself, I enjoyed the episode. Was it my favorite episode, or one of my favorite episodes of the past 4? No, but I still had a fun time with it, but I feel like a majority, or at least a large number of people, may call this a bad episode because it wasn't as bombastic, it wasn't as insane or just jaw-dropping as some of the other episodes. Could easily see people just dismiss it as being useless. But for myself, I actually really enjoyed this episode. It wasn't that amazing of an episode, but it doesn't really have to have these shock moments every single episode to keep me interested. As long as you have an interesting cast dynamic, I don't really care what these characters are doing. If they're having some sort of internal struggle within their class with one of theirs possibly going to get expelled if they're going to lose points, or if they're just going to go to the mall shopping. As long as they can make the cast dynamic interesting, I'm aboard with this series, and so far within these past 4 episodes, I think just have done a phenomenal job. Like, really, at the end of the day, this episode was mainly showing us some of the other classes, or at least some people from other classes. We got introduced to a girl from class B, I think is what her class was, and I mean, we're seeing that these classes, and I feel like just the characters overall, it feels like everyone's hiding something in some way, shape, or form, and our main character might be the guy hiding the most. And I think this is just such an interesting school because we have a girl who has like over 2 million points, but appears to be a very normal girl. But it's like, is she like one of our females in Class D who's just using and abusing people? Is she a fake persona? Is she whoring on the streets? Is she just luring men for their points? Like, what exactly is going on with her character? Or is she just a normal girl, worked hard and people gave her points? Like, there's so many ways that they can take so many of these characters that makes it interesting. And even if they don't go insane with a character that has over 2 million points, that's fine too. This is just such an interesting cast because anything could truly happen. We can have insanity, we can have normal people just succeeding because they're a good student, and it just feels like everyone could betray anyone at any point in time. Everything could be perfectly fine or everything could hit the fan. And I just like this interaction, especially because right now we're dealing with, essentially, we have the kind of like thug of Class D who possibly could get expelled. They could possibly lose points because he roughed up some basketball players who essentially were just trying to frame him, just make him look bad. And of course we need some evidence, and one of the people in Class D, of course, has evidence with a camera, but it seems like she's trying to hide something. She doesn't want people to see something that she has, and that could be very interesting. It could be very dry depending on what's going to happen with this one character. But really, I thought this was a fun episode just because it wasn't trying, in my opinion, it didn't feel like it was trying to be like last week's ending. It didn't feel like it was trying to top last week's ending, revealing that one of the characters had a sick and twisted persona. It just felt like, feeling like it was trying to highlight the fact that everyone has something to hide, and everyone has something to gain from the other, and it's a matter of who are you going to trust in this, because at the end of the day, the only way for you to actually succeed is to trust in your class, because the class has to succeed together. Our main character says it best. If he gets expelled, it may not have a negative effect on us right now because we have no points, but it could hold a negative effect later on, that once we gain points, then they would subtract it. So really, you have to work with your entire class, but at the same time, how well can you trust the class? And I think that's a really interesting mechanic because it makes it so the entire cast, it's a matter of, are they really going to be friends, or is it a fake friendship so they can succeed together in order to rise up through the ranks from Class D up to Class A? And I'm glad something like this is happening, that one of the classes is trying to sabotage the other to probably, because it seems like if they do kind of get found guilty in terms of Class D, they're also going to have to give up some points or something like that. So I mean, the blackmail and just the sabotage, everything that could happen that could be bad for a class can absolutely happen. And it really feels like there's no rules in place to prevent something like this from happening, because at the end of the day, if you have the points, you can do anything. And I feel like they could literally blackmail the principal with points. It feels like anything could happen in this series, and at the same time, they can have the most mundane episode, and I feel like it would still be enjoyable just because everyone seems a little shady, everyone seems like they got something to hide, and that makes it enjoyable. Was this a like flawless episode? I would say no. But was this a pretty enjoyable episode? I thought yes. And even with the stuff when our main character was essentially supposed to be kind of pretending to be this girl's boyfriend because this other girl wanted to kind of confess her love to her, he pretty much gave like this kind of response, basically like, if someone's like willing to pour out their heart for you, you deserve to at least give them a proper denial, not use me as a shield kind of a thing. So I think our main character, he's just easily the most interesting character because he kind of feels menacing in some ways, but he also feels like just a very smart individual, but at the same time, you know he's hiding things. You know he's hiding his true abilities, and it just feels like not just the main character is holding the show, it does truly feel like the entire cast is holding the show together but of course the main character is stealing the spotlight. I had a fun time with this episode. Wasn't my favorite episode, I'd probably even say it was my least favorite of the 4 episodes, but I had a fun time with it. But I could easily see a lot of people saying it was a boring episode, it was filler, I could see a whole bunch of things get thrown around, but for me, I enjoyed this quite a bit, and I'm really excited for episode 5 next week. But I'd be interested to hear what everyone think of this episode. Did you love it? Did you hate it? What was your favorite moment? I think easily my favorite moment is actually just our main character pretty much laying down the truth. The truth bombs were said when he said, you can't just use me as a shield because someone wants to confess their love to you. I just thought it was a very human moment, and I feel like it easily could have went very cliche, could have went just very kind of predictable, and they didn't go completely predictable, so I appreciate that. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and before I leave, smack that like button to show your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.